guys and welcome back to my channel, it's Jess. So today I have my January wrap up video. It's going up a little bit late because I've been working, so it's currently February the 3rd and this is going to go up today, so not too late but like late enough. I read 10 books this month, which I'm really happy with considering I was working all month. And considering that a week of that month I did not read at all. I finished reading one of the books and it didn't put me in a slump, but I kind of had like a book hangover. It's like I couldn't really, I was so invested in what happened in like the previous book that I couldn't actually move on to the next read. So yeah, I'm not going to keep rambling because I want to make this video kind of short, so it doesn't take too long to upload. So I'm going to start. I'm not going to do them in order, I'm just going to grab whatever first and get started. So I have I did read this first, so I did read this on the 4th of the month. It's the only book I remember when I read, and it is Pride and Prejudice by Melissa de la Cruz. It's obviously a Pride and Prejudice retelling. What's a good thing to say about this book? There is none. It was absolute, excuse the language, shit. I advise anyone who is considering buying this book, reading this book, don't waste your actual time. It is just rubbish. I've never hated a book more. I finished it in like a day. As you can see, it's really small. It was absolute trash. Like, the storyline was rushed. Like, it's obviously a Pride and Prejudice retelling with like a Christmas twist, but it was just unnecessary. They diverted from the story a lot. Like they redone the roles, so like Elizabeth Bennet is like the guy version and like Darcy is the girl. Well, that's not their names in the book. Their names are, yeah, well, Darcy is the girl and I think Luke Bennet, he's like the Elizabeth. It's so trash. Like, it was literally like this girl moved on. Like roughly the storyline is this woman goes back to her hometown for a Christmas party and finds out her mom's sick, who then ends up staying in this little town. She doesn't really want to stay there, and ends up meeting this guy she knew like, from years ago from school, and they start to kind of get on. It's basically, she has like three, I don't want to say three, but like, yeah, there's three, like, no, two, just two moments where it's just insta love. It's just like, I'm with this person, I'm with that person, I love this person, I love this person. Like, literally, the book is like, let me see how many pages. 200 pages. This woman managed to fall in love twice with two completely different people. Like, not just different people, like different characteristics, different morals, everything. And then like the ending was like the last 5 pages was just completely rushed. It was just thrown together. I read Melissa de la Cruz's other books and I've never had this problem, but like, what trash. I'm not even gonna keep going on about it, but this is like, if it doesn't go in the bin, it's like going to charity shop. I don't want it in my house anymore. It's absolute rubbish. So on to a lighter note, I then read The Upside of the Unrequited by Becky Albertalli, and I loved it. Now, I don't know whether that book influenced me loving this book so much, but it was just so much better. The writing, the style, the characters, the story, everything was like 100 times better. It's basically about a girl called Molly who has all these crushes. I think at this stage everybody knows what this book is about. About this girl called Molly who has all these kind of different crushes, and she's a twin, and her sister Cassie ends up falling for a girl and she gets jealous. So, well, not jealous, but in the sense of like when you're sisters you do everything together, she kind of feels a little bit left out. So she meets this guy Will, who like she obviously has another crush on, and it's about her feeling out and finding out who she is on her own with her sister, kind of as a leaning crutch. And then there's a guy she works with, Reid. So it's not like, it is a kind of love triangle, but it's done really well. It's done really subtly, and it's not rushed or it's not insta love like that book. It's, you're eased into it, and even like the ending of it, it's not like quickly done. It's not just quickly finish it off the end of the book. It's eased into like it's a natural progression into where the character should be. So I absolutely love this book and I couldn't recommend it enough. I love Becky Albertalli's style of writing. It's so, not fluffy, but like it's light-hearted, but it deals with serious matters. Like this book has great anxiety awareness. Like I have anxiety myself, and this book just described it without being too preachy about it. So I really enjoyed this book. Then I read Underwater by Marissa Reichert. This girl, her name is Morgan. She survived an event. I won't say which one because it's kind of a main plot spoiler. She's a survivor of a big event in her life, which leaves her with crippling anxiety, where she's afraid to leave her apartment. And it's about her dealing with it, and just life. A boy moves into the apartment next door, and it's about her helping her deal with it and move on in life and get back to normal. But it's a great for what it's representing. It's done really well. Like books like this need to be written to help people deal with situations that like shouldn't happen in our society today, but they do. But I found like, I'd say this much of the book, which is like 70% of it, is all about how crippling her anxiety is and how bad she is and how she can't go outside and she can't even walk to her mailbox. And then I'd say like this tiny little bit at the end is like, oh, it's gone, it's okay, it's all done. Like it's just a rushed ending. It's just like the author realised, oh, I better finish now, I better finish the story off. And I just didn't really enjoy that. It was like everything just fell into place too quickly and not naturally. Like in The Upside from Quiet, the progression of where the characters were in relation to the story was kind of a natural timeline. It was kind of how it just fell right into place. In this, it's like it was just thrown at the book, and it's just like just finish it. So I give this 2 stars. It's worth a read, but like I wouldn't recommend it. I then read Last Seen Alive by Claire Douglas. What a book. I give this a 5 star. This is a 5 star rate. I absolutely love this. It's about a girl called Libby Hall who rescues her students from a fire and ends up injuring herself. I think it's a leg she injures. But she is basically like traumatized, or she has kind of like, I don't want to say PTSD because it's not as severe, but she has kind of like anxiety about what happened to her. There's a fire at her school. She was a teacher. She saved her students, but now she's kind of suffering from a little bit of anxiety. So she's offered a house swap for a week or a weekend. I think it's a week. By this random person who writes a letter to all these occupants in these houses and tells them that their child is sick and in hospital and they need somewhere close, and they're willing to swap the house. And their house is basically a mansion. It's like a technology mansion. It has everything you can imagine in it. And so her and her husband think it's a great idea. They want to do it. They take the swap. They go. When they get there, they realise things aren't as they seem. They've never met this man who they're living in his house. They have just spoken to on the phone. They got keys from the local garage. They get to the house and strange things start happening. They see a guy getting around the new house they're in. Their neighbour is calling with like just little strange things happening in their own home. So they soon realise they need to get home and give up on this. And when they get home, that's where things start to go completely wrong. Like, it was never what they thought it was. So yeah, I'm not going to spoil it because it is a thriller, and the main plot line of this is a surprise. So you just need to read this book. I cannot recommend Claire Douglas enough. All her books, I read all of them now, and I just absolutely love her writing and her style of like how she puts together a story and keeps suspense going, even though halfway through the book you find out a small sliver of the big surprise, but still manages to catch me every time. Brilliant reads. Next I read, it wasn't next, but this is the next read, The Escape by Hannah Jane. And this is about a story about 2 guys who go on a hike, and they go missing, and one of them is found beaten to a pulp, and the other guy is not found for a couple of days afterwards, and he's found dead. And it's mainly set from the police chief's daughter's point of view. Her name is Avery. It's about her helping the guy who was found deal with his kind of survivor's guilt and trying to figure out who done this to them, who took them, who kidnapped them, who killed the other boy, and just figuring out, like, in this small town who could do such a thing. It was a good read. I think I gave it 3 stars. It was very predictable. I figured out like 20% of the way in who was the culprit and who done what and how it was done. So it was okay for what it was, but it was not a surprising read. I guessed it, and it was a little bit repetitive. Like, they'd tell you information and then tell you again, and it was like at the end of it you realise the information that they were repeating wasn't necessary. Like, you didn't need to know this information 4 times over. So yeah, that's that one. I then read Just Listen by Sarah Destin. This is a really bad copy. I got this from Amazon, like 1 cent. This is about a girl who suffered, this has trigger warnings for rape. It's about a girl who was raped and is now dealing with all these people who are, like, as happens in society, are basically slut shaming her. All her old friends don't want to know anymore. The guys used to chase after her, they call her slut, they don't want to know. And it's about her dealing of being on her own and dealing with her family, and her family has some problems too. There's triggers for anorexia and bulimia too. And she meets a guy who is kind and he wants to help her, well, not help her, but he wants to be her friend and help her deal with stuff and help her talk about what she went through. I absolutely love this book. I love anything Sarah Destin writes. It's a well written book, and it's the ending of it is just amazing. I'd recommend this to everyone. Give this a 5-star rating. I then reread A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J Maas in preparation for A Court of Frost and Starlight. Yay! Like, who else can't wait? I literally am like counting the minutes down to May. I cannot wait. I reread this. I am now currently reading A Court of Mist and Fury. I'm about halfway through. That's a reread too. I've read this and I've read that one, but I have not read Wings of Rome, so I'm going to make my way through that and then be caught up for when A Court of Frost and Starlight come out. I'm not going to go into major details about this because who hasn't read this book? Main plot line: a girl is hunting in the forest. Favourite is hunting in the forest. She killed a wolf, which turns out to be a fairy. A fairy then turns up at her door and demands retribution for killing his friend, which is her life or his, which means she has to go to his court and live there. And it's not all is not as it seems. It's kind of a Beauty and the Beast town, but it's just so much more. I'm not going to say much about it because everyone knows this is a 5-star rating for me. I don't need to justify it. It's just amazing, and I cry. This is like the 3rd time rereading this book. I cry every time I read this, and I have just ordered the hardback editions of all of them because I just love them. The next 3 books that I read are all on my Kindle. So I read, obviously, Local Girl Missing by Claire Douglas. I've done a review for this on my channel. If you haven't watched it, go watch it. Loved it. If you want to watch a more lengthy review on what I thought of it, go watch that video. I then read Stalking Jack the Ripper by Kerri Maniscalco. Loved it. It was absolutely gorgeous. The setting, the writing. I loved how, like, she kept fact with fiction. So, like, even though the book is fiction, the actual facts from the real Jack the Ripper murders were kept in line with the story. It was done really well. I'm sure everyone has heard about this book, and because everyone is reading it, everyone is talking about it. I then read, obviously, Hunting Prince Dracula, and again loved it. It's set in like Romania, in a Romanian castle in wintertime. Gorgeous setting, gorgeous language, gorgeous wording, everything about this woman's writing is just fabulous. The descriptive nature of how she describes like the castle and the instruments they use, it makes you actually feel like you're beside Audrey Rose, like when she's doing something. It's just absolutely amazing. I don't even need to describe, I don't need to give people not a review, but like the storyline, because I'm sure everybody and their mother has heard what Stalking Jack the Ripper is about. And the love interest between Audrey Rose and Thomas Cresswell, oh my god, book boyfriend. It is just so well done. It just, like, I'm literally at the end of Hunting for Prince Dracula, I'm screaming, like, just give me more, because I want to know what happens. And it's so, like, she writes so well. I'm just like on the edge of my seat wanting to like pull the words on the page to like find out what happens between these two. But yeah, that's all I've read in January. I hope you all like this video, and if you haven't already, please subscribe and like and comment down below what you read this January, and I'll talk to you all soon. Thank you.